Welcome back. I thought I would take just 5 minutes to show you some of my process for checking APA citations. You may not be familiar with them. I don't know that I'm always familiar with them. There are many things that I'm looking up here and there to double check and make sure that I've got it right. But there are also some things that you can sort of integrate into your thinking, and that's what I've done. They are things that need to consistently be a certain way, and they generally don't change, and there are exceptions to those rules. So I want to take you through some of the big ones as I'm looking through APA, what I'm looking for, and hopefully you can maybe write a little checklist that goes with it and internalize some of them yourself, because you'll see that they're pretty standard once you get a rhythm going and you start looking at what they are. So I'm on Google Scholar, and what I thought I would do is a broad search and start looking down some of the APA citations and tell you what's my process as I'm looking through to make sure that Google Scholar has it correct. So let's say we were doing a search for technology integration. I'll just do in the classroom. Okay. We'll move this over so that we can see it. A whole bunch comes up. Some of these are documents and PDFs, and so I'm looking at journals first and foremost. I'm not sure I'm loving all of them. I mean, this looks like it might be a good article, but definitely Delta Pi, it has a research focus, but not as strong as some other entities. And so what I might do then is refine my search. I'm going to do that right now. You can't see it. I'm going to do since 2014 and see what comes up. And you can see now Journal of Information Technology is one of the first hits. There's undergraduate research, secondary education. All right, so this looks good to me. I'm familiar with Joe Tondor's work, so it's good to see a name that I've seen before and work with that. Venkatesh I know also. So this is all good. Okay. So what I would do next then is, let's have a look at the way the citation is written. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller here. How do I do that? Give me 1 second to resize my screen. Wrong way. Come on. There we go. Moving it back. There we go. So I'll do that again. Hit cited by. Now citing comes up. So the first thing I look at are the authors and make sure that they are written out correctly. Capitalize the last name, write it out, and then first initial period. If there's a second initial, like in Butcher here, there should be a space between the first and second initial, and then the middle name. Period. That ends. Authors come first. The next piece of information is the year of publication, 2015, period. Okay, so there's a period at the end of each of those because now a new piece of information is going to come. The new piece of information is the title. What I'm looking for here is this, that only the first word in the title is capitalized. If there's a colon, then the word after the colon might be capitalized, but the rest needs to be lowercase. And every once in a while, references slip through here where they're not like that. Okay, good so far. I'm looking for two things now in the next piece of information, which is the journal title. One, should be all capitalized because it is a journal title. Two, that it's in italics. Good so far. But here's what's missing. If there was an issue number, if there was issue number or a volume number, I don't have them. If there were pages associated with this document, I wouldn't be able to go and find them because they're not listed here. And I don't know if that's a Google issue. They just don't have the metadata for that. Or if it's actually an online publication and that information just doesn't exist. So I would have to look at the document to find out more about it. I could also look and see who has cited it and see how they cite it. But as I go back and I look, it looks like that the home of this is EPUB's utah.edu. So EPUBs makes me think maybe it's an online publication and there just isn't volume or page number information associated with it. So that one cleared the litmus test. Okay, and so I'm going to do another one here. I'll go down to Tandoor because this won't be online. This will be a publication with volume and that sort of thing. But the process goes the same when you're thinking about APA. It's last name capitalized, then initials capitalized, spaces if there's multiple initials. We go through all of them. There should be a period at the end, so S period. Next piece of information, the date, in parentheses with a period at the end. Done. Next is the title. We should have only the first word capitalized. And here, even after the colon, there's no capital, and I'm fine with that. Check the journal title. What are we checking for? Two things, italics, all capitals. Done. Now there's more information here than the last one. The volume should be italicized. The issue number should not. Right? And so that can be a little bit confusing. So the 26 should be italicized. If I said capitalized, I apologize. Italicized, and then what's in the parentheses should not be. And then page numbers come after it like this. But that looks like a healthy APA to me. Where it gets hard is books look a little bit different. I'm going to try and find a book right now and walk you through it. And what's different about a book is that this might be a book chapter. Let me see. No, that's not a book. What's different about a book is that the title of the book becomes italicized because there's no it's not the title of an article in a journal, right? When I go, let me go to this one by Sue here. Sue. I hope I pronounced that right. So the way APA works for journal articles is the article title is not italicized. The journal title is italicized. When you have a book, the book title ends up getting italicized. And then it goes even farther. If it's part of an edited volume, there's examples of that. I won't go into it because this is I would say at least half of what you're going to encounter is going to be a journal article like this rather than a book chapter. Or it will be a book. So at least half, if not more. And you can find examples of the rest. I am going to look for a book though. I may have to, let me change the range back to any time. See if I can find one this way. This is what happens when you do this impromptu. Let me look up a different search here. I'm going to look up instructional design. Okay, and so here's a book, Principles of Instructional Design. And when I click on that, you'll see now the book title is what's italicized instead of any other information. Again, only the first word is capitalized there. Good. That's good. All right. And so those are the basics. Here, I'll look at another book right here. Again, title is capitalized. What's missing here, Routledge is cited, but usually what you also see is where it's been published. It looks like he's an editor. So this is something to be careful about. If this is an edited volume, this is just a reference for him as the editor, not an actual book chapter in the book. And that can get a little bit more complex. Let me see if I can find one quickly. Informal learning, and that's going to be in issues in instructional design and technology. So there was a book chapter called Informal Learning. So the book is Trends and Issues in Instructional Design and Technology, but I'm looking for a specific chapter in that. I don't know that I'm going to find a good reference for that, but they do look different. Yeah, I don't have one coming up here. Let me see what happens when I click on this. It's probably going to say Reeser and Dempsey. Yeah, that's not quite what I want it to look like. So just give me 1 second. Boom, I'm back. I actually just took 3 minutes to go find an example of what I was talking about. And because of the magic of Screencast-O-Matic, you didn't have to watch me fumble through all my files and find that. So I found some examples. So up to this point, you've seen a journal article in a journal. You've seen a straight up book. And we've been talking about an edited book and what ends up happening there. So it gets a little more complicated, but it's manageable. We're going to look at this top one here, Bickelmeyer, Bowling, and Gibbons, for example. And what you'll notice is, again, you've got the author names. Those all look good to me, period. The date, period. The title of the book chapter that's in the edited book, not italicized, just the title. Almost like a journal article, right? The title of the article does not get italicized. And almost like a journal article, the title of the actual book does get italicized. What changes is this. You actually have to reference who the editors were of the edited volume. Right? So what it starts off like a journal article, and then you say it's in this. It's in M. Ori, J. McClendon, and R. Branch, editors. The title of the edited work in italics, that's good. And then where it was published, Westport, Connecticut, and who published it. So there's another one down here. I'll just scroll down a little bit. Branch and Merrill, another one, 2011, great. And that actually appears in the book that I did a search for, which was Trends and Issues in Instructional Design and Technology. And so again, the title of the book chapter, not italicized, in the editor's book called Trends and Issues in Instructional Design and Technology. Right? And if you think about it, like, it makes sense. If you had to give somebody a recipe for a book to go find somewhere in a library or whatever, you say, here's what you're looking for. You're looking for these authors who wrote this book chapter. Well, where does that book chapter appear? It appears in Reeser and Dempsey, who are the editors of Trends and Issues in Instructional Design and Technology. That's what it appears in. Oh, great. Who makes that book? Oh, it was made in Upper Saddle River, New Jersey by Merrill Prentice Hall. So it all kind of makes sense, but it does take a little getting used to. All right. Though that's like 90% of the references you're going to have to deal with. So anything else, use the OWL at Purdue. Here we go. I still use the OWL, and I do this for a living. But when there's something more technical that's come up that you don't know the answer to, the OWL is a good resource for it. Tons of information. Let me just slide this over a little bit. Tons of information here about whatever you might be trying to reference. Books, other print sources, electronic sources, other non-print sources, music, whatever it is. But those are very rare, and I think I've covered the bulk of what you're going to encounter. Okay, there's your APA primer. Good luck, and enjoy writing.